Hello, welcome back to episode 6 of the Reason Solutions. Episode 6 overview. Top 5 films, politics, Democrats, Republicans, and third-party ideology. Data dive, how to read numbers. We're going to take a deep dive across 3 different conversations, and I promise you, by the end they all connect. We're starting with film, 5 movies that hit different, not just as entertainment, but as mirrors. Then we move into politics, not the noise, not the actual map, left or right. It's just politics. And we close with something that will make you think twice every time you see a poll or a statistic, because numbers can tell a story, and sometimes the story leaves out the most important part. Point of view, number 1, movies. Before we talk politics or data, let's talk cinema, because sometimes the best way to understand the world is to watch it through someone else's point of view. My top 5. Sinners. Ryan Coogler brought something raw and spiritual to the screen. The beauty of the movie, I believe, is it was left up to how you wanted to interpret what it meant to you, how it hit with you. So number 1 was Sinners. Number 2, Fences. August Wilson's words through Denzel Washington's performance. This one hits the chest. Troy Maxson is a man carrying the weight of the world of America, promised and never delivered. Every man who's ever had to swallow his dreams to keep his family moving forward, Troy is that man. Number 3, The Equalizer trilogy. I know. I said 3 top 5 movies, but I put the trilogy as one movie. I know it's wrong. Don't drag me. Rob McCall moves quietly, precise, and protects people the system forgot. This trilogy is about what a man with the code looks like when the code activates. Power, discipline, accountability, every single film. 4, do the right thing. Come on now. Spike Lee Jones. Spike Lee handed us a whole neighborhood in one summer day. The film is still relevant because the conversations it started never finished. Number 5, Training Day. I know. Denzel again, yeah. By now you can tell that he's my favorite actor. I got some young ones coming up now. Since he already stepped off the scene, he might step off the scene. Alonzo Harris taught us what corruption looks like with a badge and a smile. The system doesn't always look like a villain. Sometimes it looks like someone you trusted. So those are my 5. Give you a second. Think about it. Drop your 5 in the comments. 5 different types of power, pressure, and truth. And the word truth, that's exactly where we're going next, because it's politics. Everybody claims they have it. So let's look at the actual landscape, left, right, and everything in between. Point of view 2, politics, parties, and ideology. Left, right, center. What do these labels actually mean in practice? Let's map it out. No spin. Most people move through the political world using labels: Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, without a clear picture of what each position actually prioritizes. Generally, Democrats emphasize a larger role for government and the economy, social safety nets, expanded social programs, broader regulations, protections for workers and marginalized communities. And here's the part people miss. There's real internal range from moderate centrist to full progressive. Republican generally emphasize small government, lower taxes, and deregulation. Traditional social policy and economic freedom tend to drive the platform. Their internal range runs from liberation learning to populist, and those 2 wings won't always agree either. Where the lines blur, and this is important. Many Americans hold mixed positions: fiscally conservative, socially progressive, or the reverse. Ideology moves across multiple dimensions. Think of it as a map with latitude, longitude, and not a single dial from left to right. Third parties. Libertarian priorities, individual freedom across the board. Less government in your wallet and your personal life. Greens prioritize environmental policies and social justice. Other independent movements exist across the spectrum. These parties run real candidates. Structural factors, ballot access rules, debate thresholds, winner-take-all elections create serious barriers for the third party at the federal level. That's why they stay out of the national spotlight, even when their ideas resonate. Why this matters for you as a listener. When you understand the landscape, you evaluate candidates on substance. You move past the party label and look at the actual position. Call to action. Here's what I want you to sit with after this episode. Think about the last 5 issues that generally matter to you. For example, your neighborhood, safety, your child's school, your health care, your paycheck, your housing. Now ask yourself honestly, did your position on each one of these issues land in the same place on the political map? Meaning, whatever label you vote under, did all your issues fit neatly into one place? For most of us, the answer is no, because we are human beings first. Let me say that again. We're human beings first. Just like I tell parents, you didn't name your child A, B, or C when they get one of those on the test. We're not named Democrat, Republican, Independent. We are complex. We hold conservative values on some things, progressive values on others, depending on what we've lived through, what we've lost, what we're trying to protect. So here's your action this week. Write down your top 3 issues. Write them down, put them in your phone notes, type them up. Don't hold it to memory. Then research where each candidate in your next local election actually stands on. So as you do your research, see where the candidate stands. And then look at what they've done, not just stand on. I can stand on a diving board, but if I never dive off the diving board, I jump off the diving board, I'm not swimming. I'm just standing on the diving board. So not just where they stand on the issue, what they have done, not what they say they're going to do. I can say I'm going to dive in that swimming pool. If I never dive in that swimming pool, I'm still just standing here talking 10 toes down. Party labels come second. The actual position on what matters to your life comes first. Vote the issue, then vote the person that votes your values. This is politics. You're not going to get all of it. But if they with you at 3 out of 5, 2 out of 5, 0 out of 5, 1 out of 5, then the numbers show you what they're going to fight for. They're going to fight for you. They don't care about any of your values. They don't stand on any of your values. They're not going to govern for you. So that's your homework. Let's get at it. Write it down. And then share this with someone else. Share the video with someone else if you can't remember everything I said. This is my episode 6. I've started off with just what is politics and how does it relate to our daily lives. And then I've tried to weekly add on to how we got here. Branches of government, your local elected officials. Now we're talking about political parties. So it's been a progressive. If you miss something, you really do have to go back and at least start at episode 1. So I do point of view 1, something nice and soft and fun. Point of view 2 is always politics. Point of view 3 is always about some form of education. And here's a question I want you to carry into this week. If you had to vote purely on an issue that affects your daily life, your block, your family, your future, and no candidate's party label was visible on the ballot, would you actually choose? And what does that answer tell you about who you should vote for moving forward? Are we good? Let's transition to point of view number 3. We just talked about how political labels can obscure what's actually happening. Now we take the same energy and apply it to data because numbers carry their own kind of spin, and Philadelphia schools just gave us a perfect case study. Point of view 3, they say men lie, women lie, but numbers never lie. That's not true. Numbers can be manipulated. So we have to really do a better job of understanding numbers. A poll drops. The headline reads one way. The data instead tells a different story. So you have data, you have a poll, but then you have a community that really isn't captured in that data. Let's talk about what polls actually measure and what they miss. 2 polls came out of Philadelphia in June 2026, both about public education. On the surface, they seem to agree. Dig into the methodology and the picture gets more complicated. Poll 1, Suffolk University and the Philadelphia Inquirer. 500 residents surveyed by phone. Results: 19.4% named education as their top concern, second only to crime at 29.6%. When asked to rate Philadelphia's public schools, 45.2% said poor, 30 said fair. Only 11% said good for improving schools. Residents prioritized teachers' pay at 36.2%, followed by school safety and building repairs, both at 25.2%. Poll 2, commissioned by Philadelphia for Great Public Schools, conducted by Change Research. Over 1,000 registered voters reached through Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and text messages. Most of our seniors and people that vote regularly are on Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and text messages. But anyway, they released the results. Only 8% of the voters believe public education moves in the right direction. 8%. 57% said they feel very concerned, up from 44% just 1 year prior. 81% expressed at least some concern. Among Black and Latino parents, 61% and 54%, respectively, supported opening new charter schools. 86% called for a district audit. Now here's the critical listeners pause. 1 million plus registered voters with a stake in every school, every budget decision, every closure, every policy that shapes how this city educates its children. Poll 1 reached 500 of them by phone. Poll 2 reached 1,029 of them through Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and text messages. Together, both polls combined reached fewer than 1,600 people out of a registered voter pool of over 1 million. That means the loudest education conversation in Philadelphia in June 2026 drew its conclusion from less than 0.2% of the people this issue actually affects. Let that land, let that sit with you for a minute. The organizations commissioning these polls carry their own positions. Suffolk University through an academic lens, Philly for public schools through an advocacy lens for expanding school choice. Poll 1 reached 500 people by phone. Poll 2 reached 1,029 people through social media, ads, and text. These two samples likely skew differently in age, digital access, and levels of civic engagement. A landline phone responded and a Facebook ad responded, live in different corners of the city's demographic map. Both samples capture real concern. Neither sample captured a full picture of what 1 million registered voters actually think and feel about their school. The gap between the sample and the city deserves your attention every single time a number lands in a headline. Numbers in both polls reflect real concern. Philadelphia will be closing 17 schools next year, 2026-2027 school year. I spoke about that more in detail in my episode, Who Pays the Price When Schools Close? The question a critical thinker asks, who got surveyed? Who commissioned the poll? Whose voice still didn't make it into either sample? Philadelphia's Black and brown families carry the heaviest impact of these school closures. 61% of the Black parents in poll 2 said they support new charter openings. That tells you the current system hasn't earned their full confidence. Numbers carry weight. Numbers also carry the assumption of the people who designed the questions, frame the results. Read every poll with both the data and the methodology in your hand. So, my call to action. That was a lot, I know. Here's what I want you to do. The next time a poll, a statistic, or a headline lands in your feed and stops you in your scroll, pause before you share. Ask 4 questions. Who commissioned the survey? Follow the money and the mission and the advocacy organization that campaigns for charter school expansion. Commissioning a poll about charter school carries a different weight than independent academic institutions asking the same question. Neither one is actually wrong. Both deserve scrutiny. Number 2, who did they actually survey? 500 people reached by landline, phone. 1,000 people reached through Facebook. Instagram ads represents 2 completely different slices of a city. Age, digital access, neighborhood, income level, all of that shapes who ends up in the sample and who gets left out entirely. 3, who designed the questions? The way a question gets worded determine the answer it pulls. Do you support improving public schools? And do you support school choice? Can produce completely different numbers from the same community, depending on how questions are framed to the issue. And the most important question of all, question number 4, whose voice is missing? Philadelphians, Black and brown families absorb the heaviest consequence of every school closure, every budget cut, every policy decision. When their voices show up in a poll sample, they tell you something powerful. When they don't show up, their silence carries just as much information as any number on the page. Data literacy is a civic skill. Build it, use it, and teach it to every young person in your life who will navigate a world full of numbers designed to move them in a specific direction. Reflection questions. And here's the question I want you to carry into your week. Think about the last piece of data poll, the statistics that changed your opinion on something. Now ask yourself, did you ever look up who paid for that research, who designed those questions, and who didn't make it in that sample? What would your opinion look like today if you had? And we move forward. We've all been captivated by numbers. They stand out. 2% of the people. What 2% of the people believe? 100% of the people believe. Everyone believes. You can't know everyone. But those words trigger stuff in us, and they pull on our emotions before they pull on our logic. So I want to thank you for staying with me. I do apologize for not asking you to hit like and subscribe so you can get the notifications when my episodes drop. They normally drop every Thursday at 7 p.m. Hit like and subscribe. I appreciate that. This is my 6th episode. Episode 7, I will be interviewing Council Member Curtis Jones. Episode 8, I will be interviewing a new graduate 2026 Cheney University, Mecca Cephas. Episode 9, I will be interviewing our state representative, Morgan Cephas of the 192nd District. Episode 10, Dr. Leroy Hall Jr., Philadelphia Public School Administrator. Episode number 11, interview with Dr. David Romano. Summary, 3 points of view, 5 films that tell us who we are, a political map to help you find your own position, and 2 polls that prove that same data can point in multiple directions depending on who's talking and who's asking the questions. That's the work. Stay curious, stay critical, stay in the conversation. Remember, knowledge is power. Deuces.